The story begins by introducing a princess named Zhu Yan from the Qi clan, who, along with her entourage, visits the Hu clan's residence. They are gathered to celebrate Zhu Yan's wedding to the prince of the Hu clan. However, Zhu Yan is not keen on this arranged marriage. Consequently, she uses her jade hairpin to craft a doll that resembles her, allowing her to escape the impending marriage. In addition to this, she employs her spiritual powers to summon a sand monster, causing chaos in the area. This makes everyone believe that she has been abducted by the monster, while she secretly slips away behind the mountain to make her escape. Once she safely reaches a certain location, a handsome man descends from above using his umbrella. His name is Si Yin, and he receives the jade hairpin from Zhu Yan, discovering that it is a family heirloom of Si Ying's. It is revealed that Si Ying is Zhu Yan's teacher. The scene then depicts a young Si Yin practicing swordsmanship alongside Zhu Yan, who is seen climbing onto a rooftop to pick flowers. During this moment that young Zhu Yan accidentally encounters Si Yin, marking their first meeting. At that time, even Zhu Yan is unaware that Si Yin is the prince of Kong Sung. Shortly afterward, the queen of Kong Sung, Bai Yan, accidentally crosses paths with the king's concubine named Qiu Shui, who is pregnant and harbors ill feelings towards the queen. Qiu Shui, displaying cunning behavior, insults the aging queen and predicts that the king will no longer favor her. However, the queen ignores her and departs. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan, still on the rooftop, falls due to a bee in the tree. Her fall leads concubine Qiu Shui to believe that Zhu Yan is a spy attempting to assassinate her, leading to her anger and a desire to report the incident to the king while implicating Zhu Yan's father. Witnessing the situation, Si Ying, as a prince, immediately intervenes, asserting that Zhu Yan was merely trying to pick a flower from the tree. He even threatens the guards, stating that he will fight them if they arrest Zhu Yan. Young Si Ying showcases his impressive swordsmanship, silencing concubine Qiu Shui and rescuing Zhu Yan from punishment. It's during this incident that Zhu Yan learns of Si Ying's royal status and is thrilled to have been saved by him. However, she also feels saddened because the flower she intended to pick has now been ruined. Upon witnessing this, Si Ying promptly employs his spiritual powers to revive the withered flower. Seeing Si Ying's abilities, Zhu Yan becomes determined to learn spiritual powers herself, aspiring to become stronger and protect those in need. In the Kong Sung royal city, a grand meeting convenes involving all the clans. Si Ying, as the crown prince, demonstrates his exceptional swordsmanship skills, earning praise from the clan leaders in attendance. However, the atmosphere takes a dark turn as concubine Qiu Shui enters with her deceptive words, recounting the earlier incident and casting Si Ying in a compromising position. Hearing the tale, the king becomes enraged and punishes his son by ordering him to leave the room. Despite this, Si Ying continues to defend himself, adamantly asserting his innocence. On the same night, concubine Qiu Shui instructs her guards to meet with Si Ying, pretending to need his help as the king has shunned her after the earlier incident. Si Ying is wary, but at the same time, willing to assist concubine Qiu Shui, and he enters her residence. Si Ying attempts to dissuade concubine Qiu Shui from do the unthinkable and offers to confess his own wrongdoing to his father. However, concubine Qiu Shui, cunning and desiring to eliminate Si Ying from the kingdom, proceeds with the act right in front of him, making it appear as if Si Ying is the murderer. The king, arriving and witnessing the scene, becomes infuriated, blaming Si Ying for Qiu Shui's death and even contemplating killing him. Queen Bai Yan, Si Ying's mother, immediately defends her son, asserting that he could not have killed Qiu Shui. The king then orders his guards to capture and imprison both of them. On the same night, news of the queen and Prince Si Ying committing self-immolation as a protest against the king's judgment reaches Zhu Yan. She is determined to go to the palace and uncover the truth about concubine Qiu Shui's wickedness and Si Ying's innocence. However, Zhu Yan's father, who is present, immediately restrains her from taking such a perilous course of action. It is revealed that the fire was orchestrated by Queen Bai Yan to save Si Ying's life. She uses her jade hairpin to create a lifelike doll resembling Si Ying, which is burned in place of the real Si Ying. The real Si Ying is taken away by the queen's acquaintance, a great master on Choi Mountain named Master Wu, who will educate and mentor him. Queen Bai Yan advises him not to seek revenge and instructs him to leave the area. Meanwhile, she will pretend that Si Ying perished in the fire. Si Ying, under the guidance of his teacher, reclaims the jade hairpin and is determined to live and become stronger, with the ultimate goal of bringing his mother back from prison. On the other hand, Zhu Yan, believing the rumors of Si Ying's death, prayed for him and performed a soul-sending ritual. Her plea reached the heavens, expressing her desire to become a spiritual master to bring Si Ying back to life. However, the ritual posed a grave danger to Si Ying since he was still alive. Consequently, the master ordered Si Ying to eliminate the person who had initiated the ritual, or else that person would threaten Si Ying's life in the future. 5 years later, Zhu Yan, who had been persistently striving to become more powerful and had been moving between various martial arts schools to master advanced spiritual abilities, remained committed to resurrecting Si Ying. During her journey, Zhu Yan encountered one of the masters who instructed her to go to Choi Mountain. There she might discover a forbidden relic that could aid her in her quest, and she would also find a great master capable of teaching her the necessary techniques. Coincidentally, Choi Mountain was holding a sacrificial ceremony, which occurred every 10 years. According to tradition, each selected family had to send their daughter to dance as an entertainment for the nobility. Excited about the opportunity, Zhu Yan eagerly participated in the dance, even though she only had 3 days to practice. When Zhu Yan arrived at Choi Mountain, the guards informed her that, apart from accommodations and places of worship, they were forbidden from visiting other areas. Zhu Yan had a brief encounter with Master Wu, who was renowned as the greatest master on Choi Mountain. However, due to Zhu Yan's inquisitive nature, she thought that truly great individuals would not be easily visible, and there must be someone even greater than Master Wu who remained unknown to all. On the other hand, in the midst of a lake on Choi Mountain, Si Ying, who had not yet turned 18, was practicing his spiritual powers. Suddenly, a deity bird named Chongming arrived at the scene. Chongming was a deity bird capable of assuming human form and served as a guardian in the area. Chongming approached Si Ying to invite him to witness a sacrificial ceremony. However, as Si Ying was not permitted to leave the area before his 18th birthday, he declined Chongming's invitation. It was revealed that Si Ying was attempting to create a water sphere, which would serve as a gift for his mother. This water sphere had the power to heal and restore his mother's voice, which had been lost during the fire accident. Not long after, Chongming escorted Si Ying behind the mountain to inspect the area and ensure it remained protected from intruders. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan, who was staying at an inn, observed them and immediately recognized the bird as a deity bird. She also believed that anyone riding it must possess incredible skills. In her quest to find a great master, Zhu Yan decided to follow them, despite being warned that it was a forbidden place for outsiders. When Zhu Yan reached the area behind the mountain, she encountered Chongming, the deity bird who guarded the region. Zhu Yan, filled with questions about the person who had ridden the bird, annoyed Chongming. As the guardian of the area, Chongming forbade Zhu Yan from entering and instructed her to leave. Recognizing that her dance performance time at the inn was approaching, Zhu Yan left the area. Meanwhile, at the ceremony, a tragedy unfolded as the princesses vied for the role of leading the offering ceremony to the gods, which could also result in becoming the future wives of Prince Kong Sung. Bai Lu attempted to dance to seek attention and seized this position from Bai Ying. Bai Ying, the daughter of the queen of the Bai clan, was supposed to be the customary envoy of Si Ying. However, Bai Lu, the daughter of a concubine, wanted to take on the role of Si Ying's envoy to no longer be looked down upon by others. Bai Lu even intentionally discarded the dance gown that Bai Ying was supposed to wear, causing it to fall into the Royal Valley, a forbidden area for everyone to visit. In order to help Bai Ying retrieve her fallen gown, Zhu Yan courageously ventured into the Royal Valley, despite knowing it was a forbidden place. The royal valley served as the burial site for king and queen from various dynasties and held numerous relics, particularly the celestial ring. Within the royal valley, Zhu Yan discovered beautiful flowers and successfully located Bai Ying's dance gown. Unexpectedly, she also stumbled upon the renowned Hanging Lake, an incredibly beautiful sight that she couldn't resist. Therefore, she decided to wear Bai Ying's gown and dance by the lake. Simultaneously, Xi Ying, who had started sensing a different spiritual presence in his residence, began investigating the cause. He was surprised to see a woman entering the royal valley and dancing on the lake. He silently watched Zhu Yan as she danced. During her performance, Zhu Yan noticed the handsome face of Xi Ying, momentarily distracting her and almost causing her to fall. Fortunately, Xi Ying caught her in time. Zhu Yan then introduced herself. Upon hearing her name, Xi Ying remembered her due to her unchanged demeanor and personality. Shortly after, Chongming arrived, reminding them that Zhu Yan was the woman he had met behind the mountain earlier. Chongming was puzzled as to how the woman had met Xi Ying. He also recalled the curse on Xi Ying and warned him to kill the woman before she killed him. However, it turned out that Xi Ying's attack was directed at the real intruders. As Chongming, who had realized the situation, went to seek help from Master Wu, Xi Ying used his lightning powers to defeat the intruders, with Zhu Yan assisting in the fight using her fire techniques. Inadvertently, Zhu Yan caused Bai Ying's gown to catch fire during the battle. The confrontation continued until Master Wu and his followers arrived, forcing the intruders to flee. To prevent Zhu Yan from being punished by the master, Xi Ying concealed her inside his robe. Curious by nature, Zhu Yan tried to find a way out and encountered an illusory version of Xi Ying. She attempted to touch the illusion, which Xi Ying could feel. Here, the master reminded Xi Ying about the prophecy that he would die at the hands of a woman who had offered prayers in the past. Xi Ying would only meet this woman when he was still under 18 years old. After Master Wu left, Xi Ying released Zhu Yan from his robe and erased all her memories of the incident. Meanwhile, it turned out that the intruders were from the Ice Clan, who had long been expelled from the Kongsung region and were still harboring resentment. Therefore, they planned to steal the Celestial Ring, which protected Kongsung, in order to regain power. The intruders had formed an alliance with King's leaders for their mutual benefit. At the same time, Zhu Yan, who had awakened in her room without any recollection of the events in the Royal Valley, still had visible wounds. That night, Bai Lu descended into the Royal Valley alone to locate the whereabouts of the Celestial Ring. Bai Lu was determined to find the ring to fulfill her wish of bringing peace to her mother in the afterlife. Meanwhile, Xi Ying and Chongming realized the presence of intruders in the Royal Valley. Chongming immediately confronted them, causing Bai Lu to faint. Upon discovering that Bai Lu belonged to the Bai clan, just like Xi Ying's mother, Xi Ying woke her up and hypnotized her to gather information about his mother. Bai Lu then revealed that the life of Queen Bai Yan was in great suffering, as she was imprisoned by the king and forbidden to be visited by anyone. Hearing the news of his mother's ill treatment, Xi Ying immediately searched for Master Wu at the palace in Mount Jui. However, he couldn't find him. Alone, Xi Ying decided to go to Kongsung City to fetch his mother, but encountered Master Wu, who forbade him to go, claiming that his mother had passed away. It is recounted that the water ball-carrying bird sent by Xi Ying had reached his mother. Queen Bai Yan drank the water and recognized the scent of the water ball from Xi Ying. By consuming the water, Queen Bai Yan regained her voice. However, the recovery of Queen Bai Yan's voice was discovered by Concubine King, who intended to report it to the king. To protect Xi Ying's whereabouts, Queen Bai Yan decided to do the unthinkable by consuming charcoal, preventing the king from tracing the origin of the water ball and finding Xi Ying there. Upon hearing of his mother's death, Xi Ying was filled with anger and blamed himself for sending the water ball that led to his mother's actions. As a result, Xi Ying's spiritual power became uncontrollable, influencing celestial phenomena. Master Wu, witnessing this, immediately calmed Xi Ying down. Xi Ying, who had lost the will to live due to his mother's death, eventually changed his strategy. Initially, Xi Ying, who was under 18 years old, was not allowed to leave the area and only focused on training. Now Master Wu invited him to witness a meeting among the 6 leaders of Kong Sung, with the intention of showing Si Ying the unfair treatment they subjected to Queen Baiyan. The next morning, Si Ying had arrived at the Kong Sung Palace, introducing himself as Master Wu's disciple. He was introduced to the 6 Kong Sung leaders who held a low opinion of Queen Baiyan. They considered her guilty and unworthy of respect, insisting that, as per tradition, the name of the late Queen Baiyan should be erased from Kong Sung's records. Si Ying, feeling this was highly unfair, grew angry and desired revenge against them. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan, who had awakened, descended once again into the royal valley. It was unclear what her purpose was this time, but she had lost her memory of the previous day's events in that location. Zhu Yan encountered Chongming, who was seeking assistance to calm down Si Ying in his enraged state. She revealed Si Ying, consumed by anger and unable to recognize Chongming as his friend. Chongming tried to attack Zhu Yan, but she was saved by Zhu Yan, resulting in her getting injured. Observing this, Si Ying regained his senses and immediately saved Zhu Yan. Zhu Yan, who had almost died from her injuries, made Si Ying feel guilty, and he agreed to fulfill one request for her. They reached a river still within the confines of Mount Jui. Here, Si Ying utilized his yang energy, and the river, being yin in nature, combined yin and yang to restore Zhu Yan's consciousness. Following this, the union of yin and yang in Zhu Yan's body caused a flower mark to appear on her forehead, which was an omen for Si Ying. Chongming then reminded Si Ying to kill Zhu Yan now. However, Si Ying defended Zhu Yan because she had helped calm his anger. Zhu Yan, reawakening with the energy provided by Si Ying, found her physical strength even better than before. Subsequently, Chongming escorted them back home. However, Zhu Yan moved around a lot and eventually fell, forcing Si Ying to catch her, and they both flew together until they reached the burial place of Queen Baiyan. Zhu Yan, who had previously heard of Si Ying's mother's death, saw Si Ying mourning and venting his anger. This anger had caused Zhu Yan to get hurt, but now she had recovered, and her energy was even stronger than before. Therefore, Zhu Yan considered this meeting as fate. Consequently, Zhu Yan requested permission to pay her respects to Queen Baiyan. Zhu Yan, upon learning that Queen Baiyan had been falsely accused, realized that she had experienced the same injustice herself. When Zhu Yan was born, her presence was deeply disliked by her father's first wife. Unfair treatment and false accusations were frequently directed at her and her mother. Therefore, 5 years ago, she had encountered a kind-hearted prince from Kong Sung. In fact, he was willing to face a punishment that would lead to his death for her sake. Hence, to this day, she was determined to find relics or become stronger, in essence, to do whatever it takes to resurrect the prince. Hearing this, Si Ying felt touched. At a time when everyone had turned against him and blamed him, Zhu Yan had sincerely prayed for him. However, this was not the case for Chongming, who wanted to kill Zhu Yan to protect Si Ying's future. Then, Si Ying defended and saved Zhu Yan, threatening that if Chongming wanted to kill her, then he should kill him first. The time had come for Si Ying to erase Zhu Yan's memory of the current events, because everything that had happened in the Royal Valley was a secret to outsiders. However, this time, Si Ying's spiritual power did not work, as it turned out that Si Ying had previously agreed to grant one request from Zhu Yan. This agreement was a responsibility that had to be fulfilled. This was the reason why Si Ying's spiritual power didn't work this time. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan couldn't think of her request at the moment, so Si Ying let Zhu Yan go without erasing her memory, on the condition that all of these events had to be kept secret. Chongming, who was still upset, then escorted Zhu Yan back to her lodging. Si Ying decided to let go of revenge and follow his mother's wishes, to continue his spiritual training to protect Kong Sung. This decision had not initially aligned with Master Wu's wishes. Thus, Si Ying was sent by Master Wu to participate in the upcoming offering ceremony as a record keeper. Chongming reminded Si Ying once again not to meet with Zhu Yan to avoid complicating matters. Meanwhile, by chance, Bai Ying and Si Yu, who was Prince Kong Sung and Si Ying's younger brother, met in a place. They didn't recognize each other, but felt a certain connection between them. They agreed to become friends who supported each other without revealing their identities. The next day arrived, and preparations for the offering ceremony were about to begin. Siyu, as the prince, entered the meeting room to represent his father and conduct the ceremony. It was here that Bai Yin realized that he was Prince Kong sung, but not for Prince Siyu, who appeared to not recognize her. Then, the ceremony of offering and seeking blessings from the gods began, led by Master Wu. Si Yin, who was ready to serve as the record keeper, also participated in the ceremony from his residence. Siyu was seen delivering the opening speech for the ceremony and did an excellent job, which made Si Yin very pleased with his younger brother's success. Suddenly, it was time for the ceremonial dance. Bai Ying, who was dancing, was further adorned with beautiful feathers from Chongming. This surprised Si Yin, who wondered how Chongming's feathers could be used in the performance. It turned out that Chongming had previously given her feathers to Zhu Yan. However, Zhu Yan had given them to Bai Ying as a replacement for the dress that had been burned by Zhu Yan. To avoid raising further suspicion from Master Wu, Si Ying hastily transformed himself into a flower crown and approached Zhu Yan, whispering for her to break one of Chongming's beautiful feathers on Bai Ying's dress. Zhu Yan succeeded in breaking one of Chongming's feathers, and the dance was completed flawlessly. Everyone praised Bai Ying's excellence, except for Prince Siyu, who praised Bai Lu. After the ceremony was over, Master Wu immediately approached Bai Yin to inquire about where she had obtained Chongming's feathers. However, in accordance with Zhu Yan's agreement, Bai Yin replied that she had received the feathers from her mother. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan, feeling guilty for her mistake, sought out Si Yin to apologize for nearly exposing the secret of Si Yin and Chongming by giving Chongming's feathers to someone else. Not long after, Zhu Yan revealed that her request was to become Si Ying's disciple, so she could learn advanced spirituality to resurrect and save Si Ying, who had died 5 years ago. However, Zhu Yan had not realized that the person in front of her was actually Si Ying, who was still alive. But Si Ying, who had previously vowed not to meet with Zhu Yan again, refused her request. Elsewhere, Bai Ying, who was feeling sad and angry because Prince Siyu seemed not to recognize her, encountered Prince Siyu. Bai Ying explained that he did it to protect her from her mother and uncle. Not far from there, Bai Lu overheard their conversation. Bai Lu, upon witnessing the closeness between Prince Siyu and Bai Ying, felt unhappy. She then reported Bai Ying to the 6 leaders of Kongsung, urging them to investigate the man behind the wooden bird ornament in Bai Ying's possession. Bai Lu pretended to conduct this investigation to ensure her brother's safety from this allegedly wicked man. On the other hand, Zhu Yan, who had been rejected by Si Ying as his disciple, felt desperate. At the same time, Chongming saw that Zhu Yan was not giving up on her desire to awaken Si Ying's spirit. If this were allowed to continue, it would be disastrous for Si Ying. Therefore, at Chongming's command, Zhu Yan went to the former king's tomb to retrieve the 7-star lamp, one of the requirements to become Si Ying's disciple. Unbeknownst to Zhu Yan, Chongming had planned for her to die at that location. Zhu Yan was attacked by the energy guardians of the place, even entering an illusory world where she encountered a young Si Ying. This illusory world drained Zhu Yan's energy, leaving her weak. Simultaneously, Si Ying, who had arrived at the location after sensing something unusual at the king's tomb, saw Zhu Yan there. With determination to obtain the lamp, even as her energy was running out, Si Ying was moved when she witnessed Zhu Yan's struggle. With a little assistance from Si Ying, Zhu Yan eventually managed to grasp the lamp with her own hand. Zhu Yan, feeling joy at obtaining the lamp, soon learned that her success was in vain. Si Ying clarified that he had never instructed Chongming to order Zhu Yan to retrieve the lamp as a condition to become his disciple. Therefore, he once again drove Zhu Yan away from the site before Master Wu discovered her presence. Meanwhile, the news about the origin of the wooden bird had reached Prince Siyu. An investigation was launched, and all the writings of the people present there were collected to compare with the inscriptions on the wooden bird. However, there were no matches, and the sender of the wooden bird remained unidentified. Consequently, Prince Siyu decided to close the investigation. However, the Qin clan remained suspicious and proposed that a master who had learned at the Royal Valley be investigated. This led Master Wu to realize that it was the Qin clan that had infiltrated the valley and tried to attack Si Ying. Shortly afterward, Zhu Yan arrived and defended Bai Yin. She advised Bai Yin to leave the man who couldn't protect her. This prompted Prince Siyu to admit that he was the one who had sent the wooden bird. After the offering ceremony to the gods was completed, each clan returned to their residences. A few days later, it was Si Ying's 18th birthday, a symbol of adulthood for the crown prince. From this day on, Si Ying could be recognized as a young master, and he could also present himself to everyone. As a birthday gift, Master Wu was preparing a party and a new residence for him. Moreover, Master Wu was going to hold a selection to choose disciples for Si Ying, whom he would personally train. News about the new young master and the announcement of the disciple selection had spread throughout the city. However, the Qin clan was becoming more suspicious, wondering if the new young master was the crown prince who had returned from the dead. As a result, they devised a plan to remove Si Ying from the palace, allowing Siyu, the legitimate heir of the king, to ascend to the Concubine throne. They also dispatched representatives from each clan to participate in the one-month-long selection on Mount Jui. The envoys had gathered on Mount Jui to compete for the position of the first disciple. From the Qin clan, they sent Qin Gong, the leader of elite warriors with considerable spiritual abilities. Unknown to everyone, he had been sent with the intention to assassinate Si Ying if it turned out that the new young master was indeed the crown prince of Concubine. Qin Gong was the one who had injured Zhu Yan's father during a past military training, earning Zhu Yan's intense hatred for him. Until the day of the young master's inauguration arrived. Everyone present was shocked by the young master's presence, especially Zhu Yan, who never expected the young master to be Si Ying, the one who had previously rejected her as a disciple. Afterward, Si Ying conducted the first selection test for the participants, in which they had to find him jade bone from the mountaintop. Those who succeeded would get the opportunity to learn from him on Mount Jui for 1 month. Zhu Yan, still harboring anger from Si Ying's previous rejection, had no intention of taking the test, as she had no desire to be a disciple of Si Ying. Zhu Yan planned to be lazy and not participate. However, she was unexpectedly approached by Qin Gong, who invited her to join a team to complete the test. On the other hand, it turned out that Master Wu was not as benevolent as he appeared. He monitored and interfered with the progress of the test. Here, Master Wu deliberately planned for the Bai siblings to win. His intention was for her to become the queen, and then she would marry Si Ying so that, as the queen, she could exact revenge. Master Wu harbored deep resentment over the tragedy of Queen Baiyan's death. As a result, he used Si Ying as a tool for revenge. Furthermore, Master Wu analyzed Qin Gong's participation in the test, considering it a potential threat to Si Ying. Consequently, Master Wu placed obstacles in Qin Gong's path. The first obstacle came from the giant guardian animals of the mountain, which sought to kill them both. They were cornered and faced the massive creatures. However, Zhu Yan managed to scare the animals away with a threat. After overcoming this obstacle, they had to deal with chaotic smoke that caused any living being entering its illusory realm to die. Realizing this, they tried to escape from the smoke. Unfortunately, Zhu Yan got caught and entered the illusory smoke realm. It was said that the smoke brought forth the anger and hatred of individuals, causing them to lose their minds and eventually do the unthinkable. Zhu Yan became influenced by this hatred and attempted to throw herself into the abyss. Fortunately, Si Ying arrived in time to save her. As they tried to exit the realm, the smoke attacked Zhu Yan. However, with the help of Si Ying's umbrella, they managed to repel the smoke. Nevertheless, the bridge before them collapsed instantly. Zhu Yan, feeling guilty for damaging Si Ying's weapon, offered to replace it as Si Ying appeared angry. Si Ying clarified that his anger wasn't about the damaged weapon, but rather Zhu Yan's carelessness in using the umbrella all this time. Surprisingly, Zhu Yan felt happy despite being scolded by Si Ying, as she had been saved by him earlier. At that moment, the bridge reappeared before them. It was revealed that anger, lies, and all that is evil destroy the bridge, while happiness, loyalty, and goodness create a new bridge. Those who understood this concept expressed their happiness to help the bridge grow. However, Si Ying had only a few memories of happiness with his mother. Therefore, Zhu Yan was the one who expressed much happiness, including the joy of meeting a young Si Ying. With the bridge continuing to grow, they managed to cross and ultimately leave that place. After successfully leaving the realm of hatred and goodness, Si Ying and Zhu Yan entered their realm of love, where they engaged in a game and encountered puzzles. Si Ying quickly solved them, allowing them to escape the traps. However, it wasn't over yet. Now they had to find the right vortex to exit the smoke. Si Ying intentionally cornered Zhu Yan to make her jump into the vortex first. In doing so, Zhu Yan managed to escape from the chaotic smoke and return to the real world, where she met Qin Geng. Zhu Yan immediately invited Qin Geng to go to the mountaintop to retrieve the jade bone so that she could help Si Ying escape from the chaotic smoke. Meanwhile, Si Ying continued his efforts to get out of the realm. Using his power, he successfully escaped the smoke and returned to his original location. Learning that this was the master's doing, intentionally setting obstacles for Zhu Yan and Qin Geng, Si Ying felt uneasy and disagreed with his master's actions. The master had planned this to ensure Qin Geng wouldn't harm Si Ying in the future, leading to a disagreement. Simultaneously, on the mountaintop where they were competing for the jade bone, Bai Lu exhibited aggressiveness in her attempt to obtain it. However, the jade bone unleashed an attack when touched, overwhelming them. Then Zhu Yan snatched the jade bone from Bai Lu and released it back into the pit she had created, causing the attack to cease. It turned out the attack was merely an illusion. Shortly after, the jade bone reappeared and chose Zhu Yan. This event sparked another struggle for possession, but they suddenly found themselves at the meeting point of Mount Jui. According to the selection rules, since Bai Lu was the first to obtain the jade bone, Si Ying selected her to study spirituality together for 1 month. Following Master Wu's suggestion, Zhu Yan, who had successfully navigated the treacherous journey, overcoming giant animals and chaotic smoke without a powerful weapon, was also chosen to participate in the training. Master Wu, who knew that Zhu Yan had succeeded with Si Ying's help, had orchestrated this plan to test Si Ying's attachment to Zhu Yan. Consequently, both Bai Lu and Zhu Yan were selected to study spirituality with Si Ying for 1 month on Mount Jui. Zhu Yan then approached Si Ying to express her gratitude for saving her life and offered to withdraw from the 1-month training, considering she had been rejected as a disciple before. However, Si Ying refused her request, explaining that the decision for Zhu Yan to study with him for a month was made by the Grand Master. The next day arrived, and all participants who successfully reached the mountaintop during the test were allowed to attend the teachings. The first day of instruction began. Zhu Yan, who was late and even fell asleep in class, was given the punishment of copying a book on basic spiritual knowledge. Zhu Yan had no prior knowledge of basic spiritual practices. As a result, Si Ying gave her an ancient book that could impart knowledge through a ritual. This was a shortcut to provide Zhu Yan with at least some fundamental knowledge. After absorbing a significant amount of knowledge from various books on basic spirituality, Zhu Yan was very grateful to Si Ying for his assistance. Starting from that day and onward, she would study diligently and become a good disciple to Si Ying. Meanwhile, Qin Geng, who had previously helped Zhu Yan during the test, received assistance from Zhu Yan in obtaining a strand of Si Ying's hair. This strand would be used to confirm Si Ying's true identity by combining it with a brush and Si Ying's hair. It was revealed that Si Ying was the crown prince hidden within the mountain for a long time. Suspicious of Qin Geng's intentions, Zhu Yan handed the brush back to Si Ying and apologized for taking his hair without knowing Qin Geng's true purpose. Afterward, Qin Geng informed Concubine King of this information, and Concubine King immediately administered poison into Qin Geng's body. Qin Gong had to extract the deadly poison from his body to attack Si Ying, and if the poison wasn't removed, Qin Gong would die. That night, while Si Ying was outside, Qin Gong suddenly arrived and launched an attack. Si Ying knew Qin Gong's intention was to eliminate him, but he faced Qin Gong calmly. In fact, he deliberately removed the deadly poison from Qin Gong's body to save him. Qin Gong was astonished by Si Ying's actions and expressed gratitude. At that moment, Si Ying also gave him a legendary sword that suited Qin Gong well, as Si Ying had come to realize that Qin Gong was a good person. Meanwhile, Si Ying was growing weaker due to having removed the poison from Qin Gong's body. Despite being able to control the poison, it was still extremely deadly. With no other options, Zhu Yan attempted to take Si Ying to the tomb of the king, accompanied by Chong Ming. There, they encountered energy-consuming guardians. Holding the 7-star lamp, the energy within Si Ying was absorbed by the guardians, and the poison's energy disappeared instantly. Afterward, Si Ying meditated, with Zhu Yan by his side. He then took her outside in the rain, wanting to teach Zhu Yan the power of spiritual penetration through rain. Zhu Yan was delighted and quickly mastered it. The next morning, their lessons continued, focusing on controlling the wind. All the participants witnessed how Si Ying mastered this technique. He instructed them all to practice and develop it, but Zhu Yan was still struggling with the theory of controlling this power. Therefore, Si Ying personally taught her. The day of selecting the first disciple arrived. After 1 month of learning, 4 candidates, selected based on their scores, competed for the title of the first disciple. However, Qin Gong and Bai Ying withdrew for specific reasons, leaving Zhu Yan and Bai Lu to fight for the coveted position. In the end, Zhu Yan won the competition and became the first disciple. That night, Si Ying visited his master, and it turned out to be the master's birthday. Si Ying paid respects and presented a cake, expressing his desire not to return to the Concubine Palace. He knew the master cared for him and would never forget the master's kindness, but he didn't want his eventual reappearance to bring disaster to others. He wanted to stay here forever and hoped that the master would begin focusing on himself, as most of the master's attention had been devoted to his education. Hearing this, the master was conflicted. After officially becoming the first disciple, Zhu Yan, who belonged to the Choi Mountain clan, was required to master the spiritual techniques of the 6 clans. Zhu Yan was from the Qi clan and should have been capable of using all of their fire techniques. However, it turned out that her basic abilities were very weak. Even her skills were inferior to those of one of the servants there, which left Zhu Yan frustrated. The next day, news arrived about a contagious epidemic in the village below Choi Mountain. Si Ying, the master there, decided to descend the mountain to help with the treatment. Chong Ming would follow with a supply of medicine, and Zhu Yan insisted on accompanying him. She showed great concern for the widespread epidemic. However, Si Ying forbade Zhu Yan from staying there as the epidemic was extremely dangerous. He ordered Zhu Yan to return to Choi Mountain. But Zhu Yan stopped at the village's outskirts and helped the residents by starting cooking fires and providing food. Meanwhile, she intentionally trained her fire control skills, leading to a rapid improvement in her abilities. In the evening, Zhu Yan prepared grilled fish for Si Ying, and they shared a meal by the riverside. Soon after, Si Ying received news that the patient's conditions had worsened due to Zhu Yan accidentally administering the wrong medicine. However, Si Ying took responsibility for the accident and returned to treat them. This ultimately led to the recovery of the villagers, who expressed their gratitude to Si Ying for her help. Meanwhile, a festival was taking place at the Concubine Palace, and Bai Lu, who had attended the event, met with Concubine King. She informed Concubine King that the young master at Choi Mountain had a hidden background, causing Qin Gong to show respect rather than carry out his original mission to kill the young master. Upon hearing this information, Concubine King concluded that Qin Gong had betrayed her, and it was likely that the young master was the crown prince. Subsequently, Qin Gong sent a message to Si Ying informing him that Concubine King had discovered Si Ying's true identity. Thus, he urged Si Ying to be cautious. Not long after, the time came for Si Yin to meditate and pierce the true frog. This was the highest level of spiritual attainment that few could master. However, Zhu Yan appeared at the location where Si Yin was meditating, bringing a feathered cloak as a gift. Suddenly, a barrage of attacks aimed to kill Si Yin while he meditated. Zhu Yan intervened to defend against the attacks, getting wounded in the process. Her blood fell onto a stone seal where Si Yin was meditating. This caused Si Yin to awaken and defeat the attackers. Master Wu, who arrived late to help, was furious to see Zhu Yan at the scene and Si Yin leaving his meditation and returning to the real world. Meditation was a valuable practice that couldn't be interrupted. Master Wu blamed Zhu Yan as a disruption and ordered her not to meet with Si Yin again in the near future. Later, Zhu Yan was cared for by her mother and her guardian named Jing Yi. Jing Yi had been with Zhu Yan since childhood and was a mermaid. Afterward, it was revealed that a dragon god had awakened from its slumber. The dragon god warned Jing Yi to fulfill his important mission, which was to attack the descendants of Kong Sung for the sake of the return of the Sea Kingdom. However, it seemed that Jing Yi had already become devoted to serving and protecting Zhu Yan. On the other hand, the failure of the Qin clan's attack on Si Yin didn't deter their plans. Now, it was the turn of envoys from the Ice Clan to launch an assault, starting with an attack on Zhu Yan. With that, it would lure Si Yin out to save his disciple. Si Yin, who was in the midst of meditating, received a signal that his disciple was in danger. Without hesitation, he stopped his meditation and rushed to help Zhu Yan. Despite having to bypass the guards and disregarding his own condition as his energy had been depleted, Si Yin, upon arriving, confirmed his long-standing suspicion that the Ice Clan had indeed conspired with the Qin clan to kill him. However, in the midst of the battle, it was Zhu Yan who was injured and about to be hit by an enemy attack. In a fit of anger, Si Yin unleashed a devastating martial technique. Suddenly, his power weakened considerably, and he almost fell. Zhu Yan quickly caught him, and, in that instant, transferred her energy using her mermaid abilities to replenish Si Yin's energy. Eventually, he managed to unleash the devastating martial technique, sending their attackers flying. Now weakened and adrift at sea, they encountered the Sea Dragon God, who had been imprisoned there. Seeing them as intruders, the Sea Dragon God attacked them and returned them to the surface. They were found by Master Wu, who promptly rescued them. Here, Master Wu realized that Zhu Yan was an omen of disaster for Si Yin, noticing the flower mark on Zhu Yan's forehead. Upon their arrival at Si Yin's residence, it was evident that they were both concerned about each other's well-being. After regaining their senses, Si Yin recounted to Master Wu that the Sea Dragon God had emerged. This revelation shocked Master Wu, as it was foretold that the Kong Sung Kingdom would be destroyed by a sea invasion, and the day of chaos was imminent. Simultaneously, Zhu Yan, who had arrived at Si Yin's residence to check on him, overheard the revelation that Si Yin was the crown prince of Kong Sung. This discovery greatly surprised Zhu Yan to find out that the person she had been trying to revive for so long was actually still alive. She felt relieved but also blamed herself for her childhood carelessness, which had forced Si Yin into hiding in the mountain for years. The continuous companionship of these two since childhood made Si Yin realize that he had fallen in love with Zhu Yan. However, this was strictly forbidden by the oath of a young master. Therefore, he felt responsible for accepting the punishment. On the other hand, Master Wu still intended to command Si Yin to return to the Kong Sung Kingdom. However, if he were to return, his status as a young master would be revoked, and his powers would be taken away, a punishment he would have to endure. Nonetheless, Master Wu had also concocted a special potion for Si Yin that could preserve and restore his powers. As a result, Master Wu spread the news that the Crown Prince of Kong Sung was still alive. This news reached the ears of King's leaders and Concubine King, prompting them to propose the ascension of Prince Siyu to the throne of Kong Sung, even marrying him to Beilu. This was done to prevent Si Yin, the true heir of the king, from becoming the ruler and failing to control the kingdom. Upon hearing this news, Bai Ying felt heartbroken and betrayed by her father and brother, as she had always loved Siyu. Here, Bai Lu admitted that she did not intend to snatch Siyu away, but had always aspired to become the queen. The next day, Si Ying, who had previously fallen in love with Zhu Yan, decided that he did not want to meet Zhu Yan again. He wanted to continue his status as a young master and leave the mortal world behind. However, Zhu Yan was eager to meet Si Ying again, and eventually she was allowed to do so. Here, Si Ying told Zhu Yan that she had learned enough and no longer needed to stay with him. As a result, Zhu Yan was allowed to leave the mountain. However, Zhu Yan, who had grown comfortable learning from Si Ying, did not want to leave the mountain. She even expressed her desire to stay with Si Ying forever. A few days later, Zhu Yan's parents came to Mount Jui to pick her up as they were planning to arrange her marriage with several clan leaders. Si Ying approved of this decision. Knowing that her parents had come for her, Zhu Yan decided to descend the mountain to avoid any misunderstandings about her relationship with her master and asked Si Ying to meet again someday. Here, Si Ying gave her a jade hairpin as a token. Upon her arrival in Jifang City, Zhu Yan was introduced to several men. However, Zhu Yan, who had loved Si Ying from the beginning, had no intention of going through with the arranged marriage, causing the matchmaking to fail. Meanwhile, in the Kongsung Palace, Concubine King had planned to marry Siyu to Bai Lu. However, the king asked Siyu to choose his own wife. Naturally, Siyu chose Bai Ying as his bride, and the king approved. Despite Concubine King's failed marriage plan, she still wanted Siyu to be crowned as the crown prince. Bai Lu, shocked by this turn of events, devised a plan and hoped to use Si Ying as an alternative path to becoming the new queen. The following day, the king's decree arrived, announcing the marriage between Princess Zhu Yan and Prince of the Ku clan. Because it was the king's command, Zhu Yan reluctantly agreed to marry the prince of the Ku clan. This decision was also difficult for her parents, because the Ku clan lived in a remote area, making it unlikely for them to see Zhu Yan again. As Zhu Yan prepared for her journey to the Ku clan, she bid farewell to her friends and sent a wedding invitation to Si Ying. After agreeing to the marriage with the prince of the Ku clan, she began her journey to the Ku clan's territory, bidding farewell to her parents. Upon reaching the Ku clan, Zhu Yan was welcomed by the Fire clan's queen and the prince of the Ku clan. This clan was still under the jurisdiction of the Qi clan, so Princess Zhu Yan naturally received respect due to her status. That night, Zhu Yan planned to escape from the wedding. However, escaping in the usual manner would violate the king's command, which was akin to punishment and would bring harm to her family. Therefore, Zhu Yan decided to feign her own death, and in doing so, her family would not face punishment from the king. Zhu Yan's plan to choose a horse for her escape unexpectedly led her to encounter a mermaid punished by the Fire clan's queen. It turned out that the mermaid was Concubine Hu along with her son. Zhu Yan intended to help them and lead them to a safer place. She revealed her jade dragon blood hairpin, which unexpectedly triggered the appearance of the Resurrection Star, a sign of the Sea King's emergence. If the Sea King were to appear and fall into the hands of evil, a great war between the sea and the Kongsung Kingdom would occur. The appearance of this star compelled Si Ying to hasten his search for the Sea King to prevent the prophesied conflict. Si Ying's investigation led him to the territory of the Ku clan because the star's direction pointed there. Meanwhile, today was Zhu Yan's wedding day. At that moment, Zhu Yan created a puppet resembling herself to stand in for her during the wedding ceremony. Then, she summoned a sand monster in the clan's territory to make it appear as though she had been abducted and attacked by the monster. As Zhu Yan fled, she was pursued by Si Ying, who was also heading to the area to investigate the star's guidance. Here, Si Ying did not approve of what Zhu Yan had done, as it could potentially lead to chaos. Si Ying then brought Zhu Yan back to the territory of the Ku clan to witness the turmoil caused by Zhu Yan. They used his magical umbrella to remain unseen. It turned out that the Ku clan's sorceress and queen had evil intentions towards Zhu Yan. They planned to use Zhu Yan as a pawn to overthrow the Qi clan and foment a rebellion. Moreover, the cruel Queen of Huo was using a collection of mermaid eyes for her dark magic potions. Intentionally, Xi Yin made Zhu Yan visible again. The queen, realizing that Zhu Yan had previously been a puppet, ordered her troops to eliminate the real Zhu Yan to prevent her from interfering with their rebellion plans. In the midst of the battle, Xi Yin arrived to assist Zhu Yan and defeated the sorceress. Eventually, the defeated queen admitted her guilt. The Hu clan's prince, who was the clan leader, was willing to take responsibility and face the death penalty to spare his clan. Afterward, Xi Yin confined Zhu Yan to contemplate her actions and to train her spiritual skills properly. Meanwhile, in the city of Wei, it was shown that the mermaids were being tortured and their eyes were being taken by the sorceress Wo. Jing Yi, who had intentionally allowed himself to be captured, was curious about where all the mermaids from the Hu clan had suddenly disappeared to. Seeing his brother being tortured, he couldn't bear it and freed all the captive mermaids, confronting the sorceress Wo. Xi Yin eventually arrived at the location, following the star's guidance to find the Sea King. He once again encountered the ruthless sorceress Wo, leading to a battle. In short, the sorceress was defeated, but suddenly, the evil energy from the sorceress's sacred stone attacked Xi Yin, injuring him. Finally, Chongming reunited with Xi Yin. Here, Xi Yin suspected whether Jing Yi, whom he had met earlier, was the Sea King. Once his condition improved, Xi Yin continued to follow the star to find the Sea King. On the other side, Zhu Yan finally succeeded in learning from the book left by Xi Yin and unlocked its contents. However, after leaving, she searched for Concubine Huo and her son, whom she had hidden before but could not find them. Shortly after, she received a message from Concubine Huo that they had gone to the city of Jiefeng. Upon learning this, Zhu Yan decided to go there. During her journey, she stopped at an inn where she unexpectedly met Xi Yin, who was planning to stay there as well. Xi Yin, who was injured, was discovered by Zhu Yan, who took him to the inn. Then Chongming mentioned that there was a great healer in the city who could treat all kinds of injuries. Therefore, they planned to go there. After a long journey, they reached the city for treatment. It was revealed that the guards there were very strict, so they had to disguise themselves. After Zhu Yan and Xi Yin successfully entered the city, they immediately searched for the healer's residence. When they arrived with the healer's help, the demon stone shards were removed from Xi Yin's body. Xi Yin required 3 days of healing. Just as they were about to continue their journey, they were unexpectedly attacked by the sea forces, and Zhu Yan was captured by them. On the other side, Jing Yi learned that Zhu Yan had been captured by the sea forces and immediately went to rescue her. Xi Yin also followed to locate Zhu Yan. He reunited with Jing Yi, who had saved Zhu Yan. In her unconscious state, Zhu Yan received energy from Xi Yin. Shortly afterward, troops from Zhu Yan's father arrived in the city of Xia, leading to a battle between the Kongsung warriors and the sea forces. However, Jing Yi halted the sea forces' attack, even reuniting with his younger sister, whom she had been searching for. It was revealed that Jing Yi had once been the highest leader of the sea forces and came from the noblest family lineage, but he had left the sea 200 years ago to live on the land and protect Zhu Yan. In another place, Concubine Huo and her child named Sumo were struggling to find safety as they were mermaids. Suddenly, Kongsung warriors attacked and killed the mermaids, including Concubine Huo. Angry and unwilling to accept this, Sumo shouted until a dragon image appeared on his body. Jing Yi, not far from there, sensed a sign that she was close to the Sea King. Consequently, he went to that location and discovered that Sumo was the Sea King. Simultaneously, Xi Yin, receiving a sign from the stars that the Sea King had appeared, rushed to the same place. Xi Yin, who had arrived there, reunited with Jing Yi and found Sumo unconscious. Here, Xi Yin became increasingly convinced that Jing Yi was the Sea King, though it was Sumo who held that title. To save the young child, Xi Yin let Jing Yi leave. Shortly after, Qin Geng arrived there as the leader of the Kongsung warriors to fight against the sea forces, following Concubine King's call. Qin Geng accidentally encountered Xi Yin and immediately invited him to meet Xi Yu. It was revealed that the crown prince was still alive, and he was the young master, Yi, which had spread throughout the kingdom. Therefore, Yi was very pleased to meet his older brother. News came from Qinggong that Concubine King had summoned Zhu Yan for questioning regarding the chaos caused by Zhu Yan earlier. Worried about Zhu Yan's condition, Yi followed to the palace, leading to a debate with Concubine King, who was angry because Yi defended Zhu Yan. Shortly after, the king arrived and was surprised to see that Yi was still alive. He demanded retribution for the death of concubine Qushui from Yi. However, Yi was innocent in the past, and he defended himself, which made the king very angry. As a result, Yi took Zhu Yan back to his residence and cared for her there. Meanwhile, Jing Yi, who had found the Sea King before the Sea Forces, took him for protection. However, the Sea King's condition was precarious and dangerous if he stayed with Jing Yi. Therefore, he entrusted the Sea King to Zhu Yan, who happened to be familiar with sumo. Elsewhere, Yi decided to stay at his late mother's home. Shortly after, Jing Yi arrived, and Yi still considered Jing Yi as the Sea King, so he was willing to negotiate with Jing Yi. Here, Jing Yi stated that all clans used to live together in peace. Therefore, Jing Yi asked for the current war to be stopped, allowing all clans to return to peaceful coexistence. This common ground led them to work together and agree to withdraw their forces. With this cooperation, Yi didn't have to kill the Sea King to avoid a war. Starting with Jing Yi persuading the Sea Forces to withdraw their troops, his plea was eventually carried out. Then, Yi requested the King of Kong Sung to withdraw their forces. Yi demonstrated that the war was claiming innocent lives, and even provided evidence that there was a traitor working with the Ice Clan, seeking to profit from the war. Upon hearing this, the king decided to recall their troops. Afterward, Yi received news that Siyu had been attacked by someone. Therefore, as he couldn't lead the troop withdrawal now, he asked Yi to take his place in that role. Meanwhile, Sumo, who suddenly fell ill, was quickly taken by Zhu Yan to a healer. It turned out that this illness was caused by Sumo learning the spiritual practices of the Kong Sung people, which was forbidden for mermaids. However, the healer was not a good person either, and knowing that Sumo was the Sea King, he brought her before Chief Jiang in exchange for a reward. Chief Jiang, who had found the Sea King, felt that his forces were becoming stronger, so he attacked the Kong Sung people, causing chaos everywhere. Jing Yi, aware of Chief Jiang's actions, promptly killed him. Now Jing Yi took over as the leader of the Sea Forces. This chaos made Yi doubt Jing Yi once again, leading to an agreement between them and resulting in a battle. Still on the mission to find the Sea King, known to Yi as Jing Yi, he ordered his troops to find the Sea King's younger sister named Ru Yi. General Bai then carried out the order harshly, managing to locate Ru Yi and subjecting her to torture. Yi, upon learning that General Bai had tortured Ru Yi, rushed to the scene and released Ru Yi from General Bai's torment. However, he still kept Ru Yi in custody with the aim of luring the Sea King back. Shortly after, Ru Yi was rescued by Jing Yi, who secured his younger sister. At this point, Yi still considered Jing Yi as the Sea King, posing a significant threat to Ru Yi's safety. Then Yi arrived and immediately attacked Jing Yi, whom he perceived as the Sea King. Zhu Yan intervened to stop the fight. To prevent Yi's attack, Zhu Yan confessed her feelings for Jing Yi and her willingness to protect him, even if it meant losing her life. Surprisingly, Yi was taken aback by Zhu Yan's affection for Jing Yi. However, the king's order to kill the Sea King had to be carried out, and Yi prepared to strike with a deadly technique. The attack was halted as he couldn't bear to harm Zhu Yan, causing the attack to rebound and injure Yi. Not long after, Zhu Yan apologized to Yi for obstructing his duty. Here, Yi decided to sever the teacher-student bond with Zhu Yan because Zhu Yan had sided with the enemy and obstructed the state's orders. Finally, Zhu Yan chose to join Jing Yi to support the Mermaid clan, and she transformed herself to conceal her identity and delay the Kong Sung warriors to allow all mermaids to reach the Blue Ocean. Meanwhile, Jing Yi and Si Ying agreed to a leadership battle to end the war. According to their agreement, Zhu Yan immediately went to the location where Si Ying and Jing Yi were about to battle. Here, Jing Yi, who lost in the end, departed forever. Zhu Yan, grieving and angry at Si Ying for killing her friend, even mentioned that if she had known it would end like this, she would have never wanted to be his disciple. This hurt Si Ying deeply, prompting him to impale himself with the sword in Zhu Yan's hand, ending his life. Master Wu, who could sense the energy of Si Ying disappearing, quickly found Si Ying, who was no longer alive. Zhu Yan, who never expected Si Ying to do this, felt deep regret. Therefore, he planned to resurrect Si Ying's soul and spirit, following Master Wu's guidance. 3 days later, Si Ying finally woke up, but his soul was not fully restored, and his memory was limited, only remembering Master Wu. Therefore, Zhu Yan, along with Chongming, was tasked by Master Wu to take care of Si Ying during these critical 3 days of his full soul restoration. For Zhu Yan, this period meant starting to lose her 5 senses, due to the negative effects of the resurrection energy entering her. However, she cherished the closeness with Si Ying. The 3rd day when Si Ying will regain his full soul arrived, and Si Ying, though with amnesia, feels that he has a deep connection with Zhu Yan. It is also the last day for Zhu Yan to accompany Si Ying, after which she will completely lose her sensory abilities and must distance herself from Si Ying to avoid repeating the tragic fate. The next day, Si Ying awakened with a fully restored soul and memory. He was surprised why he was still alive, and he got the answer from Chongming that Zhu Yan had saved him. Knowing this, he decided to find and live with Zhu Yan like an ordinary person. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan's condition continued to deteriorate. Even her sight and hearing were disappearing. She fainted but was found by Qin Geng and Bai Lu, who happened to be heading to Mount Jui, so Zhu Yan was taken care of by them. Si Ying's decision to remove his divine robe was something he believed in. Although Master Wu and Chongming deeply regretted it, by removing his divine robe, Si Ying would become an ordinary human, losing his abilities and even risking his life if he couldn't pass the ordeal. Not long after, the ceremony was carried out, and Si Ying had to go through a valley of catastrophic trials that could hurt him. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan had also arrived there, witnessing the trials faced by Si Ying. Zhu Yan hoped to stop the suffering. Finally, he passed the most difficult test and managed to survive. Shortly after, an attack from the Ice Clan suddenly appeared to kill Si Ying, but everyone present tried to protect him. It was shown that Master Wu was hit by the attack, and he took his last breath. Afterward, the evil deeds of Concubine King and the high-ranking members of the Qin clan were exposed to King of Kong Sung. Concubine King ended her life, while the Qin clan's high-ranking members were punished for betraying the king. The reputation of Queen Baiyan and Crown Prince Si Ying was restored, and their death certificates were recognized at the palace. Currently, Si Ying has become an ordinary human with Zhu Yan, who is still recovering her senses. They promise to protect each other. Subsequently, Si Ying and Zhu Yan descended from the mountain to continue their lives. Meanwhile, Chongming, who was a divine bird, stayed behind to guard Mount Jui. Upon arriving in the city, Si Ying surprisingly proposed to Zhu Yan, who agreed, followed by approval from their parents. That night, Si Ying and Zhu Yan saw the resurrection stars shining again, and they realized that the Sea King was not Jing Yi after all. They quickly went to the Dragon God, who oversaw all events in Kong Sung, to request the Dragon God's testimony about the true events that had been happening. The Dragon Council instead urged them to awaken Jing Yi. As it turned out, Jing Yi's soul had not perished. The Dragon God had previously granted a defense to Jing Yi, because Jing Yi could protect the Mermaid Clan. Si Ying and Zhu Yan successfully awakened Jing Yi, and they agreed to protect the Sea King and maintain peace among the clans. They then met the Sea King and managed to open a path to the Blue Ocean. However, suddenly an attack from the Ice Clan, led by the God of Destruction, who sought the Dragon God's blood to activate 2 divine rings within him, occurred. It turned out that Jing Yi had Dragon God's bloodline within him, so the god of destruction managed to control Jing Yi with the intention of destroying the Concubine kingdom. It was shown that Si Ying fainted after losing, and Zhu Yan was taken by Jing Yi. Then, a rainstorm occurred, and lightning struck Si Ying, which unexpectedly restored his power. The god of destruction, controlling Jing Yi's body, immediately attacked Si Ying and almost harmed Zhu Yan. However, when Jing Yi saw Zhu Yan injured, he regained control, leading to an internal struggle. Not long after, the god of destruction, controlling Jing Yi, attacked Concubine, threatening to take Zhu Yan. Zhu Yan's parents were willing to sacrifice their lives to prove they were not allied with Jing Yi, who belonged to the mermaid clan. When Zhu Yan arrived in her hometown, she found out that her parents had passed away, which deeply saddened her. She, who no longer had a family, decided to propose to Si Ying to make her a part of his family. The next day, Zhu Yan, who disappeared, met Jing Yi to stop his attack on Concubine, and Si Ying followed her. However, on the way, he was informed that the king was in critical condition. With a heavy heart, Si Ying stopped looking for Zhu Yan and went to see the king. Here, the king realized his past mistakes, where he could not protect Queen Bai Yan, and he took his last breath. Then, Si Ying, along with others, prepared for defense against the Ice Clan and its warriors. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan was trying to buy time to obtain one of the divine rings from Jing Yi to weaken his power. Without suspicion, Jing Yi gave her the ring to protect him. Afterwards, Si Ying managed to find Zhu Yan, and to avoid being noticed, Zhu Yan hid Si Ying in her sleeve. Even Si Ying successfully took the divine ring, which led to a confrontation. Ultimately, Jing Yi's body was instantly destroyed. However, it did not happen to the god of destruction, who immediately entered Zhu Yan's body. Seeing this, Si Ying quickly subdued Zhu Yan without harming her, and at that moment, the god of destruction entered Si Ying's body. Knowing this, Si Ying told Zhu Yan that he would seal the god of destruction within him. However, he also asked Zhu Yan to destroy his body using her jade needle, so that the god of destruction would be annihilated forever. Zhu Yan, upon hearing this request, became sad, but for the greater good of the world, she agreed to do it. Several years later, Si Yu became the king of the Concubine kingdom, and he had one child. Meanwhile, Zhu Yan, still hoping for Si Ying to return, as she believed Si Ying was not dead. The end. Moral lesson from the story: don't let misunderstandings and amnesia ruin your love life, or you might end up sealing a god of destruction inside you and asking your partner to use a jade needle on you.